started off doing one thing, you ended up just your whole path to getting to be who you are. It's amazing.
It is. I'm just trying to get back to who I am.
But the thing is
that I have never been introduced to.
Wow. I don't know. When we were talking before, and we were talking about just how you grew up, and then how you started along your path to figuring out what you wanted to do in life. Like how you even, because you've been into a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
You started off, when I met you, you were working at the community college.
Yeah.
But then...
You remember that?
I remember that. You were working at the community college at night, I think. Evenings?
I was going to school there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working in the media center for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly I was going there for multimedia, which was like photography and basic media stuff like graphic arts and that kind of stuff, So, but shoot, I don't remember. Good Lord, that was
in 78.
That was a few minutes back.
Yeah, like 77, 78. I met you in 77, at the end of 77, before Christmas.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
you remember that?
I remember that because I can remember that. And this is what I ate for breakfast this morning again. But I remember that because when Tambala told me about you, I didn't even know she had a boyfriend because she was so quiet.
Get that over there. Yeah.
And then I met you when she and I were taking that class. That's how I knew that you were there.
What class was y'all taking?
We were taking a class called Community Service or something. And the class would let us out early to go to the library. Mm-hmm. So she and I would get our work done. So when it was over, it was like the last class of the day. And you would come pick us up. And we go, and we go back to her house or go wherever we wanted because our work was done.
Yeah.
So we were chilling. And I was like, how is he going to come pick us up? And he has a car. And he has that car.
My little 67 Chevelle.
Oh my goodness. That was a nice car. It was a nice car. Has some nice wide tires on it.
They were M's. They were about this wide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They ain't had no power, but it looked like it.
Wasn't it red or?
It was candy apple red.
Yeah, why do I remember?
Same color as my motorcycle.
Isn't that something? Yep. So I remember, but it's just okay. So it was funny because I saw you then, and then I didn't see you for a while. Next thing I know, you're into bodybuilding. You're into, and like, what even made you want to get it? Now you're all into massage business. You have your own gym, but what even made you go into bodybuilding?
Ooh. Well, you playing in the band. We're playing in the, with Positive Connection, and we did a show in Baltimore. It was the Afram. This was our first time, doing the Afram. We auditioned. We did really good, and they said, "Okay, well, you're gonna open for Denise Williams and Surface." So it was like, "What?" They go, "Yeah," So we were performing, and they got into a part of the show when Joe, because Joe was a model, he was the lead singer, and then you had Grady, who was a football player, so he was all buffed up and everything, and Lenny, he was tall and slim, Then you had me hiding back behind the keyboards, like a little mad scientist.
Couldn't even see you over all those big old people.
Because I was shy, but I love, being behind the scenes. So, but that day, they kept teasing the girls. It got to a part in the set where they were teasing the girls, and like You know, Joe, he did his little modeling thing, and, you know, Grady was showing.
Oh, they were giving a little eye candy.
Yeah, so then they ran over, you know, one girl kept yelling, you know, what about him? And I was like, oh, not me. No. And then they kept
trying to suck up the keyboard.
Yeah, and so I had a six-pack because I had nothing else. But I had on this yellow jacket that was custom made for me to make me look had broad shoulders. But they kept playing around, and then Joe pulled the jacket off of me, and I'm gonna tell you, I mean, all I heard was laughs. You know, they were like, somebody yelling, you better put that back on that boy.
Oh,
you know, he looked like he's suffering from malnutrition. You know, so
oh my
it was
God, that's terrible though.
Yeah, it was very embarrassing. It was. I was humiliated. So the next day, I joined the gym. I had this vision for myself.
The next day,
and I didn't look back. I mean, I got beat up and I got, you know, wrong advice, and I trained for years and didn't see what I wanted to see. You know, but it's like anything else. Once you go all the way up in it, it reveals its secrets to you. And then you can apply them to what you want.
like what secrets?
How to eat right. You know, how not to quit, you know, when you're sore. You know, how does this whole thing work? You know, how long is it going to take? You know, because I wanted to.
Were you in the mirror every day trying to see what kind of results? Hey, I just worked out.
I mean,
so.
like nothing. You know, you go 2 months, nothing. You know, but I'm not a quitter. I don't give up. You know. And, you know, I kept going, and kept going. Then eventually Kevin joined me, boss joined me. And then him and I became training partners. And we were hitting it 4 or 5 days a week. Still, you know, little results or nothing, you know. But my nutrition wasn't right. So then I wound up meeting a guy by the name of Todd Sweeney, who was a nutritionist. He hooked me up, and then I wind up. Then Valley's closed in Annapolis, and it wound up.
I remember that at the mall.
So then we wound up going to Glen Burnie, and I met a trainer up there. You know, so I just kept training. I kept doing shows, and kept training, and kept doing shows because the shows.
What kind of shows?
Bodybuilding shows.
So how long from the time you started training, working out, did you decide you were going to train for a show? What made you get that bold? For a shy person, that's huge.
I had to push myself. You know, I was tired of being behind the scenes. I was tired of being this, yes. So I had to push myself to do that, to get on stage and I almost thong, and I didn't even know if I really had anything going on or not. So, but what happened was I was with Eugene, he was training me. And it was a bodybuilding competition, which was called Annapolis Bodybuilding Competition. And he's like, man, you need to go to see these guys, man. I said, well, I want to go see guys for me. But girls, I'm going. I go, so, because they're in a two-piece and all this kind of stuff. I'm still young, there's nothing wrong with looking at
Right.
So, I go to that show, and I'm looking at these guys up there who were actually winning. And they didn't look too much better than me. So I'm like, well, shoot, I got my trophy right there. I ain't never won nothing in my life. But, so after about a year of training, I jumped into this really small show. It was only like 4 of us in the whole total show. But it was in the Annapolis Naval Academy show. And I won it. And I beat two guys that had been doing it for a while. I said, whoa, maybe this is something I can do. I won something for a change, and came out with the trophy. And, Tam was like, where'd you get that? I said, I won it at the show.
Those girls gonna get it now.
Yeah.
Next time they pull your jacket off.
So what it was for me was that I wanted to look like a bodybuilder. So the only way to really look like a bodybuilder is to be a bodybuilder. Because being is always faster than doing. You doing it, and you doing it, and you doing it. But if you're already it, you're it. So I had to set a high enough goal to push myself to do that. And then when I won the first show, that was motivation to keep going. And I know that when I won that show, I would look a certain way. So I continued to keep training and kept training, you know, to better myself. You talk to the judges, they say you need this, you need that, you go back to the work, and then you go back.
Well, let's talk about that first show. Let's talk about that first show.
All right, so
on the way to the show, what was going on in your mind?
Do I know how to pose?
Now, did your trainer teach you all that?
So I went to the store and I bought like 20 muscle and fitness magazines. And I went through the muscle and fitness. Once I decided I was going to do the show, I went through the muscle and fitness magazines. I cut out all these pictures that I thought were poses. And then I tapped them, put them all up on some board. And then I called that my routine. So I did the poses, you know, that they all did on the pictures. So after I did that, the night before the show, I was telling the guy in the gym, I said, I really don't know how to pose. I don't know nothing about this posing stuff.
Now, is this your trainer?
So it was another guy. So he took me to see Eugene, who was my trainer at that time, who was going to be my trainer. So Eugene showed me some poses, and then he showed up at the show, you know. And so there was a guy there by the name of Muggsy. And Muggsy, I saw him at the bodybuilding competition. He won.
At the first one you went to?
The first one I went to, yes. He won. And I was like, man, you know, him and there was another guy by the name of Rock. And both of them were at that I saw them at the show before. And most bodybuilders continue to do shows throughout the whole season. And then they rack up on trophies and stuff like that. So Muggsy was in the show with me, and so was Rock, and there was another guy, and we all posed and everything, and I beat him. But I didn't beat them for my muscularity. I beat them because I was more cut up than they were.
Wow.
So I was more conditioned.
But yet they won. Muggsy won the previous show.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So Muggsy got upset. I mean, you know, and so as I continued throughout my career, he knew another guy by the name of Steve. Now, he told Steve, look out for me. There's a guy named Pierre that's just coming out in our weight class, and you got to look out for him. You know, so I'm like, you know, so I wind up doing a show, and Steve came over to me, and he said, you must be Pierre. And I said, well, yeah, but how do you know me? He said, I'm a friend of Muggsy. And I was like, oh, yeah? Yeah, you know, because Muggsy had talked a couple of times. We had talked a couple of times. So what was interesting was, so Steve was doing the show with me. But he was so much bigger than me, I thought he was in another class. So, you know, in the back you pump up to get blood in your muscles. So, you know, Steve was pumping me up and everything. Man, you look real good, man. This is gonna be your show. You can win this thing, you know. But yeah,
he's going against you. He's competing.
But I didn't know that he was competing, because usually if you're not competing, you're not helping somebody else out.
Right.
So, you know, he was just pumping me up and, you know, telling me how good I was going to look and everything. So about a minute before the show was about to start, he took off his shirt, you know, and I said, what class are you in? He said, yours. I went, it's over. I'm done.
Now, this is the show. This is not the show with the 4 people. This is...
no.
So let's go back to your drive. Let's go back to your drive to that first show. Because I want to talk about what that must have felt like for someone who had never, ever been on stage, especially damn near naked.
Yeah.
A shy person who's about to conquer his first goal, who's doing that bucket list. You about to go out here in front of all these people, take off everything, and do poses that you didn't have confidence in. Like there's a form to the poses, right? Don't you? I mean, isn't there a sequence? And so how did you even? I mean, how did you feel going in there? You sitting in the car. How long did it take you to get out the car? Did you sit there for a minute?
No.
You just popped out that car and said, "Let's go do it."
There was no question in my mind.
Really?
No. If in order to do something, you can't have that.
So you just went on in there and pumped it up. Okay, so who went before you? There's 4 guys. So what number were you?
Well, we were all on stage together because they did comparisons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did comparisons, and then after the comparisons, you go to lunch, and then you come back, and then that's when the show starts. So you play some music, and you just start doing your poses. So that's kind of like how it was for me. Now these guys were seasoned. They knew their poses, they knew their routines, all of that. Me, I'm winging it.
How'd you pick your music?
They said that your music should complement you. It should be about what you are about. So I don't even remember what my music was then. But you put it on a little cassette and you just give it to the guy, and then he plays it, and you do your set of poses. You know, you do all your different types of poses and all that kind of stuff. You know, so that's kind of like what I was doing.
Now, when I went to see you at Bowie, you had a costume, and I mean, it was a whole production.
Yeah.
So is that a different class? Because your first one, you didn't have to do all that, right? I remember like a lion or something.
My tiger, yeah.
Yeah. But that show was phenomenal. To know that you had your own gym and that you were competing is one thing, but to see you actually on that stage with that confidence, this guy that was shy and quiet, very soft-spoken.
There was no confidence on that stage. That's the problem. That was the problem. Confidence is something you have to build. You're not gonna have it if you just getting started with anything. I mean, you know, there's a certain amount of confidence that comes with knowing who you are, but there's also a certain amount of lack of confidence comes from knowing that what you don't know about what your adventure is. You know, so that comes with time and training, believing in yourself, you know, pushing yourself to go beyond, you know. And so the goal wasn't about bodybuilding. It wasn't about showing off, showing muscles. It wasn't about women. It wasn't about any of that. What it was about was me looking like I wanted to look like, so that I could be comfortable seeing me in the mirror. That's what that whole journey was about. You didn't
do it to get girls. You weren't doing it for this person's opinion. This is your personal satisfaction.
Yes.
You just want to feel good with who you are.
Yes, because coming from, you know, where I started, I weighed 116 pounds.
No!
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, in high school, I was about 112.
No!
Right, yes.
I can't believe... No, you were not that small when I met you.
Yes, I was. Wow. That's why you can see right through me almost.
Well,
I was that skinny.
But you had a buff walk, you know. You walk bigger. Wow.
Yeah. But, you know, that was a really long journey, and I took it all the way. I won quite a few shows. Steve and I actually became friends, but Steve beat me bad that day. Really bad, you know. And then he came over to me and said, you know, I had to do that because Muggsy. I said, because of Muggsy? Yeah, he said, yeah, Muggsy told me to get you. So he got me. Good.
Wow.
Yeah, so Steve was in the Navy. He had just gotten out. And so he was like, he said, I just got out of the Navy. I don't really have a job, you know. And I said, well, I work at Bally's, you know. I'm a manager there. And, you know, I think with all you know and the way you look, you would be an excellent personal trainer. You know, so He showed up the next day. I hired him right away because I needed to know how did he get that. He had a back that was wider than Route 50, you know, and but he wasn't heavy now. He only weighed 130 some pounds, but he was bigger than me at that time, you know. So we became training partners, and so we adopted animal spirits as our motivation. And then another guy came in, his name was GT. So it was Steve. Steve was the Black Panther. I was the tiger, and GT was the eagle. So when we were trained together, so if I'm ready to do squats and I might have 365 pounds on there, as a human I might have a doubt. But as an animal spirit, there is no doubt. So it would be tiger time. So they would yell in my ear, and it's tiger time now. Which I knew there was no time for games, for BS. It's time to get locked in, you know. So I'd walk back and forth, pacing like a tiger. And then when it was my time to go down, I went down and I did my squats. I did my stat.
Now this is something that you don't see enough in society. Now it was 3 of you. You have 3 men who are competing against each other, who are trained together to make each other better, so that you can be better.
Yeah, because they had things that I didn't have, and I had things that they didn't have. So when it came to back training, Steve had the most amazing back. I mean, you know, he put Batman to shame. I mean, you know, and so he taught me how to get that kind of a back.
Now his back was big, but was it ripped?
Yes.
What?
Steve had more trophies than equipment in any gym. That boy had his house is his whole. I mean, you know, like his room was about this side. He had trophies. His walls were trophies all the way around.
Wow. How long have he been training?
I mean, training and that was since he was like 11. You know, and then he did a lot of shows in the armed forces when he was, you know, they had bodybuilding shows.
Right.
You know, so he did. That was his circuit there. He built a powerful name for himself. So his goal with training with me, he wanted to be bigger. He was shredded. He wanted to be bigger because he wanted to do the junior nationals, which were coming to DC, and I was not ready for the junior nationals.
Now, what's the junior nationals about?
So the Junior Nationals is an NPC, National Physique Committee. It is the road to the Olympia.
No way.
Yes, that's the way. That's the only way. Yeah, you got to compete in the Junior National. First, you got to do a show. And you got to win, be in the top 2 or top 3. Then you can, you know, you be invited to go to the Junior Nationals. And after you do the Junior Nationals, then you do the Nationals. Then after you do the Nationals, you're a pro.
This show that you have to do to be the top 2 or 3, is it like a statewide show?
Yeah, it's like in Maryland.
So it'll be the first one in the
yeah.
state, or whoever gets number 1 in the state, then they get to go ahead and win.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's your choice or your decision. So I had done enough shows, and so after working with Eugene for a while, I wound up working with Todd, who was my trainer then. So Todd was the NPC chairman of Maryland. So if you were coming through Maryland, representing Maryland, going to the Junior Nationals, you had to go through him. You know, so he had to sign the application, and he weeded through to see who would be good and who wouldn't, because you know, I mean, the NPC is what it is. It's everything. So, I mean, you got the rawness of maybe some, you know, people who've been doing a little bit of juice. You got some people that's been doing a little bit of diuretics, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, no, don't ask, don't tell. But I was natural. I was probably one of 2 guys.
Do you have different categories? Like when you compete, are you revealing, I use supplements, or that I'm in the natural class? I mean, how does that work? And does someone, if someone uses juice, do they get as ripped Because I thought that just made you bulky.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's put it this way. That can go, that can go in a direction where you would not believe it be me, because there are the average person that's competing and even winning the top 5 bodybuilders. Their expenses are, how much is your house worth? That kind of thing. So, but they do what they do because the levels call for that, So I was in a level, jumped up to a level that I didn't even understand, But by me being in the bantamweight, I knew that I could compete, but I wasn't sure if I was going to beat those guys because, they do what they do.
Now, that's not fair.
Well,
it's not fair for you to compete against someone being a natural and somebody else is over here using supplements, and yet y'all are all together competing. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
because nobody's going to admit that's what they're
I should
doing.
get into the music and the massage parlor soon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So the idea behind it, no, that's not fair. But it wasn't. See, I wasn't really worried about competing against them.
Mm-hmm.
I was competing against me.
Right.
So if I beat me, I'm happy with my win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really, you can't control what nobody else do or what they take or whatever. It's all on me. And being natural, you can compete with those guys. You ain't always gonna beat them, but you can compete with them.
So you started off just doing a personal goal for yourself, just so that you could look and feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Then you started working at the gym, helping everybody else start to look and feel better. And the next thing you know, how did you end up mobile? How did you end up with your own gym? How did that start?
Well, because, working for Bally's, and I hired all personal trainers. And we had the #1 club out of 17 clubs as far as personal training sales go. But they gave us different, like I was in the B club, White Marsh was the A club, Glen Burnie was a C club, and we had bonuses attached to the different, so you have an A bonus, which could be $600 extra. Then you have I'm trying to say, so if at White Marsh, they're an A club, so they have a $600 bonus. So I'm a B club. I have a $400 bonus.
Per month?
Yes, if you meet your quota for whatever quota they give you. Then Glen Burnie has a C.
And that's how many clients you have a month?
Yeah, and how much gross sales
you
do in personal training. So I had the highest quota, but I was in a B club.
Mm-hmm.
So even though White Marsh had a lower quota, the manager was still making more money than me. And even in the C club, because they had a low quota, so it was easy for them to meet my quota. My quota was heavy and hard. And then eventually we started talking to one another, and managers started talking. It's like, well, wait a minute, your quota is what? Well, how come my quota, and then I'm making them more money and they're giving me less? You're making them less money and they're giving you more. So it was almost like a glass ceiling kind of thing, So I said, well, shoot, I can do this for myself. So I know what I'm doing. Bally's, I was there long enough to learn the system, how they do their system, and I incorporated their system in what I wanted to do, which was to help people. But when I first started my gym, I only had $200. I'm sorry, I lied. $400 in my checking account when I first started.
When you first started?
Yeah.
So how did you start your gym?
Well, it's funny because so I was supposed to take Tiana, my daughter, to Woodward, Pennsylvania, to gymnastics camp. So I'm kind of feeling depressed. I'm working out at the gym and everything, but I'm feeling depressed because I wanted to make more money, wanted to do more things, So Tamara goes to a seminar for her work, and Les Brown's there. So Les Brown is motivating everybody So she buys a tape series that's called Choose Your Future. And so she threw that in the back of the car as I was driving to Woodward, Pennsylvania. And I said, I ain't listening to no Les Brown.
Oh, she bought it for you.
Well, she bought it. Yeah, she probably bought it for me.
She bought it and just sort of made it available.
I was battling some demons in my own head, you know. So we got 3/4 of the way up there. There was nothing on the radio. I can only handle so much bluegrass. So I popped that tape series in, and I'm gonna tell you, by the time I got home, you know, I was so motivated. I was like, I'm gonna do my gym. And Tim said, where'd you get that idea from? I said, from Les Brown. He said, you ain't gonna ever get all those ducks lined up in a row. Just go head on. So I went in the house, changed the clothes, threw something on, and I was gonna head right straight to the fitness warehouse and, you know, look at my equipment. So Tama was drilling me, asking me all kinds of questions. And I answered them all, you know. So I got my little pad together, ran outside, got in the car, and oh shoot, I forgot my shoes. I had to go. I was so motivated, I had to go back in the house to get my shoes. So I went over to the fitness warehouse, and I'm looking around, and I'm writing down the prices of all this equipment, and I added up, and it came up to $7,000 worth of stuff. And I was like, okay, when do I get that kind of money?
Oh my gosh.
So Les would always say, you don't need no money to start your business, you know. And I'd be like, well, yeah, you do, you know. But he said, no, you don't need money to start your business. So as I was walking out, I looked up and there was a sign that says 90 days, same as cash. I was like, can I pay that off in 90 days? Maybe. Probably can't, but maybe.
Wow, $7,000.
$7,000. So the guy says, well, let's run your credit and see what you can get. You know, so I was like, okay. You know, he said if you pay it off in 90 days, there's no interest. I was like, I had to hustle. I'm gonna pay that off. So the guy came back and he ran the numbers. He came to me. He said, Mr. Parker, you can get $7,600 worth of stuff. I said, where do I sign? So I signed, and he said, okay, it was like a Saturday. He's like, okay, well, where's it going? Because Tuesday we delivering it.
Where's it going?
And I said, delivering it? Wait a minute. I don't even have a place yet. And he goes, what? I go, no. So I was like, well, hold up on that. You know, I need to find a place first. So I go back to work that Monday night. And I'm working with this lady, and I was like, I'm thinking about doing my own thing, but I don't have a place. And she said, well, I'm working with a doctor, and he just bought a building, you know, right down the road in Catonsville, and he got some room for rent. So she gave me the address, and I was down there the next day. I looked at the room, it's probably about this size. He says $400 a month. I said, I'll give you 2 now. And I'll give you 2 at the end of the month. You know, so I signed a little contract with him. And then I said, oh, shoot. So they're going to deliver the stuff. And then I go, I ain't got no clients. I ain't got no money from the client.
Because all this just happened overnight.
Yeah, so I have no clients because being a manager, they wanted me to manage everybody. They didn't want me to train anybody. So I couldn't take any clients with me. So I put in my 2 weeks notice. So the last night, you know, I had the gym, I had it all set up. I had no clients. So I was working on flyers and stuff. But the last night I did a really good orientation for this elderly lady. And I said, this is my last night. She goes, oh no, you can't. I need you. You can't leave me. She said, you were the only one that explained everything to me and according to what my doctor wanted. And, you know, I really think I can do this, but I can't do it by myself. I said, I'm sorry, I ain't going to be here. And she said, well, where you going? I said, I'm going down to my new place. And she says, personal training? I go, yes, ma'am. She said, well, can you train me? I said, sure. So she said, how much is it going to cost? I said, well, for 16 sessions, it's going to be $390. And she wrote me out a check. Right then and there. She said, I'll see you next morning.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I had my first client, and I paid the rent for the month. I was like, yes.
Here's the
Amazing,
first
one month.
night, before you even get your equipment put in the place,
Yeah.
you already had your first client and your rent paid for the whole month.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I didn't do it. That's just how the law of attraction works. The law of attraction says what's likened to oneself is drawn. So if you're in the liking, whatever you're in the liking, what you gonna draw to you. But you have to be, the energy has to be right.
So you took your $450 and turned it into an entire business.
Yeah, so when I
Now,
left,
weren't you mobile at one time?
I was. Ooh, that was a journey. But
Were you mobile before the gym?
so no, I was mobile at the gym on weekends. So I would work at Bally's 5 days a week on Fridays, and then I would do mobile personal training on Saturdays and Sundays. So I would go to Columbia, that was the first client, go back to, then I had to go to Baltimore City, then I had to go to Randallstown, then I had to go all the way up to Towson. So it's like, it started wearing me out, you know, then all the way to Sykesville, you know. So I was like, you know, this would be cool if everybody was in like a neighborhood, but the gas and the expense of, you know, the time that it takes me to go from here
Point
to
A to
there,
point
I
B.
can only do 2 or 3 clients, you know. So it just became not worth it, all the driving.
And between after that, now you decide to even take it further and get your license in massage therapy.
Yeah, so yeah, after that, after all of that and all the training, been in, you know, gym business for a while, I went, time I got sick, and then I started doing some training at Gold's Gym in the morning because I lost all my morning clients, kept my evening clients at my gym, but I lost my morning clients because I was spending time with her. But I noticed that I wasn't able to get my workouts in, so I swung through Gold's Gym, trained a couple people there in the morning, trained myself, and I met a friend of mine, his name is Wayne. We became really good friends. We trained together, and he wanted to do a show, so I wound up doing a show with him. So that's why I wound up winning the Mr. Annapolis, you know, with training with him. And then I did the Yorkton Cup, which was like, I got 4th place, which is the natural nationals. So, you know, that was a pretty cool thing too. So knowing that this works and that me being able to be in business, you know, for myself for that long, I had some injuries. You know, I went to, at Gold's Gym, a lady by the name of Nicole. She was a licensed massage therapist, and we were talking. I was telling her my back was really jacked up, and she says, "Well, let me see." So she started doing some stuff, and you know, she was like, "Wow, you got some knots going on, and you know, some things going on." She said, "Well, why don't we just barter? You train me at Gold's Gym, and then I'll give you a massage." So she started. You know, we would go back and forth, and man, she was getting that deep tissue. I mean, she was getting all that trauma out and all those injuries from training wrong in the beginning, and you know, living off of Advil and in pain and all that kind of stuff. She really, like, I was like, wow, this works. So I like to do stuff that actually really works. You know, I'm not going to do it if it's wishy-washy or, you know, it's hokey-pokey and that kind of stuff, you know. I'm not doing that if it works. So I know that works because it worked on me. You know, so I think that anybody that has back problems, you want to try to go the least invasive way first. So that was massage, you know, which was helping, and then I got the chiropractor, who was Dr. Stuckey, and he lined me up perfectly. And then I finished that off with acupuncture, which is something I'm thinking about doing next. So the idea behind it is to be able to help people or to help facilitate their healing. That's what's big. That's what's important. People want to see results. So I had no idea the extensive learning process, you know, from the Fertitta Institute what massage. I just thought, rub on people, you do a little bit of tissue, and that's it. No, I'm talking about, learning 17 different modalities. You have 3 or 4 quizzes every week. You have finals every week. You're plopped on the chair studying pretty much all the time. Everywhere you go, you got your books with you, and you got to absorb this whole entire thing. And it was not really, really cheap, but I can see on the back end, how if you do this right, how much money you can really make.
The thing is, that's amazing, is that you took this journey with your own personal struggles going on as well. You still had life, you still had to pay your bills, you still, you bought a new home, and then your wife got sick. And you're working for yourself, and like you said, you end up having to lose some clients and everything. How did you stay focused with everything you had going on? You have a daughter, you have a grandson, you had your wife getting sick. How did you stay on track? Like, how did you focus? Was that your outlet?
Well, most of it was, when somebody has cancer, it's not always a death sentence, And, as her and I were talking, we were talking about, treatments and stuff like that. And, I told her that I'll be with her every step of the way. It doesn't matter what we have to do, what we have to go through, And she said, what would you do? I said, I would try my best to continue to live right now, in the moment, today, And I would research and do everything I can. Try every single thing, before I just give in to the fact that I'm just going to die. That's what I would do. I can't say
what anybody else
would do. So, after she was diagnosed with it, usually most people who have colon cancer, usually it's about 6 months.
What?
Yeah, it's a slow-growing cancer. A lot of cancers are actually progress a lot faster, but it was 6 months. So, because her dad had about 6 months. At first it was
from the time they diagnosed.
To the time it was like a grapefruit. Then it just took over the whole entire body and metastasized, and that was it. So, but we fought this thing for 10 years.
I remember that fight.
Yeah. So what really saved her, wasn't the radiation, was not the chemo. That actually always made it worse. Was the surgeries and the belief in the doctor. The belief in the doctor and his abilities. That's what it was. My thing was, we're not going to give in to cancer. So a lot of this was, and it was the motivation was, but we were going to keep on living. So we're not going to focus on cancer, we was going to focus on living. So part of what I was doing was to inspire her to keep living. Because if she says, well, he ain't changing what he's doing, why should I? I'm going to keep going until I can't go no more.
Let me tell you, you guys, I had no idea that she was as sick as she was, because I didn't even know she was in so much pain when she would be up, because you were working on you were even doing some photography. I mean, you do music, you're into so many different things, and you guys were great partners. I mean, seeing you two on stage, it was amazing. It was amazing.
She was, and that was her outlet, and I'm so sorry that went in the direction that it went, because she was using the gift and the talent. I mean, Thelma had perfect pitch.
Oh my gosh, her voice was amazing.
You know what her goal was?
What?
To sing background
for Luther Vandross. Yes, Luther.
Luther don't get nobody to sing background for him unless they are amazing lead singers. He don't mess with background singers.
Right.
He had lead singers. Lisa Fisher and these are really good people. And I have to tell you, Tamala could hang with him.
Now, since she passed, you've been working on music. that was inspired by feelings that you had for her and memories that you guys have together and just you're wanting to do better. Talk to us about your music. What's the name of your music?
So, my music is called positronic music. It's just positive electronic music.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about being creative, having a creative edge. And God creates. God created. We're the sons and daughters of God. I think most of us are at our happiest when we are creating something.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that, you're not thinking about the outside world. You're not thinking about, the bill that's got to be paid, all that kind of stuff. It's just you in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think being human is about, being creative. Everybody has gifts and talents, some hidden, some not, But, it's one thing to have talent, but it's another thing to work on, turn that talent into a skill.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like doing it. So I've been doing it all my life, and so I got an inkling of what I could possibly do one time when I was at Anne Community College working in the multimedia program. There was a class called multimedia, and we were supposed to do a story. And we had the old reels, and you had to get this, you had to splice and all that kind of stuff, and you had to bring in all kinds of ideas. And so he wanted us to create this story so that he could listen to the teacher, he could listen to the story and follow the story, and it has a purpose or a point.
Mm-hmm.
So me, I'm not doing that well in the class because it's mostly all lecture. And I need a lab.
Hands on, right?
So if if you don't give me 3 months of lecture and now here comes the lab, I need like a week of this and a week of that.
You go along.
Yeah, so that it can make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we got to that part where we were actually able to do the lab. So I just create something, I was like, it was a story about this guy who was robbing. He had there was a guy that was fishing, and the guy didn't catch anything in fishing, so he found like $10,000. So he put it in his fishing thing, and some kids was watching him. So the kids went and told this other guy, and so the other guy said, "We're gonna steal that money." So they snuck up behind him, and they stole them. They thought they stole the money, so they ran, and they were, they like, "We got $10,000," and opening up was nothing but fish in there. So I did this story. And it was, I did all the characters, yes sir, Bob, all the funny different characters and everything, it was, all the different names and everything. I just was playing around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned it in thinking, ain't nothing gonna happen. So the teacher goes, there's only one person in here did what I asked them to do. Everybody else, I'm deeply disappointed in you. And I'm like, well, ain't talking about me, sure. And then he kept talking, and he said, I just got to say, the person who I thought would not do well at this got an A. And I'm like, well, that definitely ain't me, So I'm just ready to get out of class. And he said, Charlie Parker is the only one that gets an A today.
Like, who's Charlie?
And I was like,
me?
And then all of a sudden, everybody looked at me, and they were like, oh, so at first I was like non-existent because I wasn't doing stuff right and wasn't getting good grades. Now all of a sudden I got an A, and I'm like shocked myself. And so I got the tape, and I took the tape, because the only person who had a reel-to-reel was Dean Adams. And I took it to Dean, and I said, Dean played it. He bust out laughing. Said, man, it's the funniest thing I ever heard.
Oh, wow.
And so I kind of knew that I could do that. So that's how I got into
the
music.
ready to die, so go ahead and say your name, say all the names of your companies, and
We gotta wrap it up.
Okay.
We had a battery. So
Okay.
So we just want to go ahead and let everybody know if they want to reach out to you as far as your business. How would they find you?
Okay, so my business is called Oasis Fitness, and that's in Ellicott City, Maryland. It's right off of Route 40. It's kind of easy to find. My massage business it's mobile. I also have a location in Ellicott City, and I have a location in Annapolis. For the Annapolis folk, hey, you're not supposed to suffer in silence.
Now, how would they find you? You have a web address?
So you can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Serenity Hands. It's called
Okay.
Serenity Hands. My photography is The Fit Photographer. All of them on pretty much on Facebook. And again, I think the most important thing for everybody is that, make sure that you pay very close attention to the collateral beauty. So when something's not good, something's not right, something's bad, something happens, somebody gets hurt, somebody dies, there's always a beauty in it. So we live in a contrasting world with a contrasting planet. It's all about that. How would you know what good is if there was no bad? How would you know what up is if there was no down? How would you know how to look great if you had to be skinny? You had to recognize. So always take the worst of the worst and turn it. If somebody give you some sour lemonades, that's just gonna make some real good tasting lemonade. People do that. Sour lemons, turn it into something.
Take the worst and turn it into the best.
Something.
Your personal best.
So I know that as far as I go with my music, if I die today or tomorrow, I've left something positive here on this planet that some people, that I've given my music to or have enjoyed. That's what it's all about.
Plus, you've written a book.
Yes.
And the name of your book?
Name of my book? What's the name of my book? It was Dreaming Lean, and that's a whole nother story.